With CC. He'll be sharing with us his experience on effort. He's a triathlete. He's a product sponsor for Coke. If you want to know the million uses of Coke, see him after the meeting. Neal Linares, effort.
No. How do I do the power off? Put no, but they'll turn it off and put yes. We're going to put no.
I think it's on the projector.
Yeah, yes, we know the projector.
Try the arrow key.
Yeah, arrow key and then enter. How do you do it? There you go. Oh,
Got it.
Oh,
Enter.
yeah, enter. There you go. Oh, yes.
And go to slideshow from beginning. Of current slide. Just click on that button right there.
Press F5, man. F5 on the keyboard. F5. Slow down.
Slow.
Yeah.
Yeah! Woo! Effort.
And interestingly enough, this is my only slide.
Well, that was an effort.
How's everyone doing this morning?
Doing good.
All right.
Great.
I'm happy to be here sharing my speech on effort. And I'm excited that it's my number 5 speech. And I want to share with you an experience that taught me that effort only releases its reward until a person refuses to quit. And the way that this experience that I went through was college algebra, taking college algebra in FIU.
I'll tell you why.
And what happened, I wanted to share this because it happened to me in such a difficult fashion in this classroom, because after taking it 3 times and failing it 3 times, I decided it was a good idea to go to FIU and take it in a summer term accelerated version, which was an extended version of college algebra. So that is more information in less time. And let me tell you, it was brutal. It was really difficult. And I'm not a math person, obviously. I'm not a math person. But I needed to get past this class. I show up the first day of class, and the professor walks in. We're all ready to go. Our notes, pencils, ready to go. He gives the class. And he finishes the class, and I said, oh, okay, that wasn't that bad. I think that I can handle this. He assigns the first homework, and it was 75 problems in 2 days. And I said, okay, I can handle that. I went home, I started working on those problems. And 18 hours later, I finished, with a few breaks here and there. So I said, okay, if from here I can only get better. I turned in my work, I got my credit, and the professor arrived next class. We went through the class, and then he assigns another homework, another 75 problems. Now by this time, my stamina isn't like it was in the beginning of the first class, and we're talking about the second class, only the second class. So this was the rhythm that this class had. And I remember I went to the professor and I said, hey professor, look, can we get an extension on the homework or something, because this is a lot of work. And he just looked at me. I remember he looked at me and he just said, that's not my problem. So that was the kind of support that he... Fast forward to exam number 1, extremely difficult. I had studied for days and days. I take this exam. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And sure enough, I came short. I didn't pass the exam. I was off by a few points. So my confidence was rattled. And the professor continued this rhythm, and he started announcing the drop date for this class. And not only announcing it, but he was encouraging the people that weren't passing that didn't pass the exam to consider dropping this class. Same type of scenario, other exams, other homeworks, same demanding schedule. I was barely keeping up with everything, and that drop date is starting to look really good. Fast forward some more to exam number 2. I show up ready to go, take this exam, and this time I passed. Barely passed this exam. And I felt really good, and I said, well, maybe I have some hope. I was doing the math, I had my calculator, thinking, okay, I need to do this to be able to pass the class, I need to be in this score. Next class, the professor comes in and he says, I highly encourage the people that are barely scratching the surface to drop the class. And I wanted to drop this class so bad. There was so much pressure and the stamina needed to do this homework. I mean, every homework was 75 problems. And it took me a long time to do each problem, each homework. Okay, so, but I'm hanging in there, and I'm going, and I'm doing the homework, and I'm spending lab hours. I had over 100 lab hours in 3 weeks. I knew all the lab tutors, they all knew me, and I was making friends, and they always saw me sitting there. Fast forward to exam number 3. I do the exam, I get my results, and again, I didn't pass. And I said, holy cow, this can't be. And I review it. And I see 8 points, 8 possible 8 points that I could go and argue with the professor and say, hey, look, can I get a point? And he looks at it, and he says, I'll give you 1 point. And I said, Professor, look, I mean, the answers are correct. It's just, and he said the same thing to me. That's not my problem. So I took my grade, I took my point, I continued studying towards I'll fast forward to the final exam. I show up, I'm ready to go. I remember I was deadbeat tired. I remember that an hour before this exam, we were looking at logarithms. And I looked and I just went over the formulas briefly. I put it in right before the exam. Lo and behold, on the exam there were 4 logarithms. And I said, great, you know, it really helped me. The last portion that I studied. The exam was done, fast forward to the results. And I'm waiting for that result, checking on the internet every day. It takes about 2 weeks. And I'm checking and checking. And when I see my grade, the passing grade was a 70. And when I looked, I had a 70. So that means that I had gotten in that class a 69. So what made me pass the class was that 1 point that I went to argue to the professor. And that's how I learned. That's where I said effort only releases its reward until a person refuses to quit. Mr. Postman.
So you can't quit just yet, just going to have to.